This podcast is available in both audio and video formats on your favorite platform. See stage33live.com for more details. New episodes come out on the third Thursday of every month. Welcome to Stage 33 Live, a 40-seat nonprofit volunteer-run industrial-rustic listening room with a throwback vibe in Bellows Falls, Vermont, population 2,755. These performances were documented in our room, one and done and warts and all by local, regional, and national talent. The barely contained theme for this episode is trains, and it features Carl Goulet, Decatur Creek, Ezra Veach, Nick Badaraco, Tom Pirazzoli, Olivia Need, Aaron Ash Sullivan, Rupert Waits, The Sky Blue Boys, Phil Henry, Carl Beverly, and Dana Cooper.
Limps across the alley, his haunted face is bloody from his never-ending battle.
Stage 33 Live exists at all thanks to the excellent volunteers that make it happen, and all the anonymous angels who toss a buck or two into the blue jar at shows, or who make an online donation, or who quietly send a check to help keep this thing going. You're literally a lifeline for Stage 33 Live, and we're your biggest fan. Carl Goulet gets us going with Greenville Trestle.
On the Greenville Trestle, I'm looking straight down the Sauhegan waters, cold, angry, and brown. There's an oncoming headlamp as bright as the sun, and I'll have to answer for what I have done. I'll have to answer for what I have done. In my life I've doubted, I had to be sure that love in the springtime would be sweet and pure. But spring can be rainy and dark, muddy brown. On the Greenville Trestle, I'm looking straight down. On the Greenville Trestle, looking straight down. To kill like a bullet and cut like a sword, sometimes the best weapon takes only a word. But love turned indifferent hurts deeper than hate. I ran to reach her and she slammed the gate. I ran to reach her and she slammed the gate. I caught her at midpoint, she started to flail. Her tears and the rain fell hard on the rail. Oh, how desperation can misunderstand was the last thing I felt when she slipped through my hands. The last thing I felt right through my hands. Someday the rain ends, someday there'll be sun, and I'll have to answer for what I have done. My heart like the water, cold, angry, and brown. On the Greenville Trestle, I'm looking straight down. On the Greenville Trestle, looking straight down. On the Greenville Trestle, on the Greenville Trestle. Thank you.
Here's Decatur Creek on the southbound train.
I get to know you on a southbound train. It seems roll by on a cloudless day. My wheels are spinning as I take my cue. Space wide open between me and you. You say you're wandering and you've been out far. you.
Drifting down along the tracks, under the bridge and the trestle too. River chases a train, like I've been chasing you. Rushing through the rushes as the frogs make for the water. The setbacks, they're on fire when the sunset greets her. Ride together in our reflection, like pain and misery. Yeah, some old forgotten face as the air gets pushed away. Unabashed, full with no fear, no fear, and we're rushing through the rushes as the frogs make for the water. And these setbacks, they're on fire as the sunset greets her. Like a steam locomotive, we go blasting through the night. Just one light to point the way. You could show your hand, baby. Now it's alright, it's alright. We're rushing through the rushes. The frogs make for the water. And these setbacks, they're on fire when the sunset greets her. Drifting down along the tracks, under the bridge and the trestle too. River chases a train, like I've been chasing you.
That gorgeous song was Setbacks by Ezra Veach. Close out the set with Nick Bottaraco, Trains and Rail Cars.
Trains and rail cars keep passing me by. I seem to be going the same speed. Roads keep getting longer, and the hills keep getting steeper. And I find no in between. Take one last look as I dig my grave, 'cause I seem to have dug it this time. And if the tides turn, then I'll be there for you. Someday I hope the sun shines on through. Someday I hope to see your flowers bloom. Oh yes I do. Trains and rail cars keep passing me by, but I seem to be going the same speed. But and if the tides turn, then I will be there for you. And someday I hope the sun shines on through. And someday I hope to see your flowers bloom. Oh baby, yes I do. Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Stage 33 Live exists at all thanks to your free will donations and the excellent volunteers that make it happen. And along the way, we've had help from businesses and institutions like the Island Corporation, which owns and operates the 33 Bridge Street Creative Economy Incubator, where we host our performances.
It's a big deal what these guys are doing here. I think this thing's gonna be... We can get Taj Mahal in here. There's a hobo out in a boxcar, clacking down the rails. Conductor pulls his pocket watch, that brake man never fails. Half a dozen diesel engines blowing out the smoke. I feel the whistle bending, Lord, I can hear the twist and moan. Now that black man got a car game past that junction town. Coffee out on a coal stove, his black-eyed as a hound. Black-eyed as a blue tick hound, gonna roll on down that real big. Wave your lantern and pull ahead. We highball up as a old town. That's life on the railroad. It's life on the railroad. That's life on the railroad. That's life. cigar box guitars, fire in a can. Sometimes she's peaceful, Lord, sometimes she ain't. No one said those rail boys are candidates for saints. They roll the dice when they have them, betting all they've got. Act nice when the man comes, and they misbehave when he's gone. You know, they listen for the hum of a real bit, jump on board when the rain begins, hide in the freight car when they can. That's life on the railroad. Life on the railroad. Life on the railroad.
A double shot of Tom Pirozzoli. That was Life on the Railroad, and this is Riding on a Desert Train.
Riding on the desert train out across the desert plains, past the graveyard dogs, past the city line again. In the quiet of the night, riding on through the night. Smoke rolling by us as the moon comes rising. It's rising. On the desert train, we're passing by still oases, past camel trucks, stopping in the resting places. Sun comes high, steals all but the last of the shade on the desert train. That steam whistle let out a long sharp note. Sky beneath the moon, a cloud of smoke. We stopped at every station on the desert train, riding all night, then the day begins to break. The ancient city walls rise up as the world awakes on the desert train. That steam whistle let out a long, sharp note. The sky beneath the moon, a cloud of smoke. Riding on a desert train out across the desert plain, past the graveyard dogs, past the city line again. In the quiet of the night, riding on through the night on the desert train. On the desert train.
These performances were documented at Stage 33 Live in Bellows Falls, Vermont, and this is the Trains episode. This is Olivia Need.
Remember when you paid an 85-pound fee just on the outside of Zone 3? You and I both worried if we could get home. despite December and the unforgiving weather, I knew that we would both be alright. On board a train to Southend, are we more than just friends? Thoughts moving like waves in my mind, heart racing like a train down the line. I've never been good thinking about the future. It seems that I just want to reach her and keep her anchored down deep in my heart. Keep her anchored down deep in my heart. Keep her anchored down deep in my heart. On board a train to Southend, are we more than just friends? Thoughts moving like waves in my mind, heart racing like a train down the line. What do I do when I least expect it? Try to keep my composure, try not to act reckless. Maybe it's the perpetual movement that's got my thoughts running wild. Do we stop and get ice cream, or do we have a child? Do we have a child? What do I do when I least expect it? Try to keep my composure, try not to act reckless. Maybe it's the perpetual movement that's got my thoughts running wild. Do we stop and get ice cream, or do we have a child? Do we have a child?
That was Train to Southend by Olivia Need, and this is Aaron Ash Sullivan, Train from Gary.
How'd it feel to be the daughter late in life to a mother who was sure she didn't want to be her wife? What'd you say to your Irish-eyed dad, who always seemed so silent and sad? What was it like to know you could sing and know that was the most important thing? When courage was the chords on a piano. How'd it feel to board that train, your hands against the window pane, and say goodbye to Gary, Indiana? How'd it feel to stand on that stage, the light in your eyes, your hands shaking on the page, your voice maybe trembling with all you could feel, and those men in the dark saying your dreams were real? What'd you think when that boy sauntered in and undid you with his lazy grin. You could almost hear your mother sigh with pity. What'd you say when you turned in your keys to your tiny room and your melodies? Said goodbye to dreams of New York City. What was it like to have a love so vast that you almost didn't mind what you left in the past? What'd you say each time he wanted to move and left you in a new place with something to prove? Did you give your all at a talent show or blow the back walls out in another church solo? Exhausted by the effort of believing. And in each new room, what did you put on the shelf to remind you that you were still yourself, despite all of the places you were leaving? What was it like to know a girl with your hands who told you all her dreams of playing in a band? What was the advice that died on your lips as the songs poured out of her fingertips? And how'd you know that the best you could do was to tell her that she had to see it through? Well, inside your mind was teeming with the stories of a girl who felt like she was still 19 when her eyes were blue and her slate was clean, sitting on a train from Gary, dreaming of future glories. Man, I wish I'd thought to ask you for your stories. I wish I'd asked you for your stories.
Rupert Waits takes the set out with Miss Burgoyne and the Old Milwaukee.
Now the time lies heavy on my hands. I often walk beside the place where the old Milwaukee Railroad used to pass. The tracks all torn up long ago. A few planks are left from the old depot, scattered among the weeds and the prairie grass. And in my mind a figure still sits on a platform in gathering dusk, in the clothes they made before the First World War, waiting around for the train to arrive in a fury of steam and whistle blows, the conductor holding open the carriage door, the conductor holding open the carriage door. Her name was Edith, behind her back to her face she was Miss Burgoyne. She lived with her parents in a modest bungalow, teaching piano to the neighborhood kids, 50 cents an hour to listen and smile as we stumbled through our scales and arpeggios. And whether it was her air of reserve, or her spinster's clothes, or her foreign name, or her college degree class of 1928, but whenever we ran out of games to play, we could always laugh at Miss Burgoyne and some of her stranger personality traits. Some of her stranger personality traits. It was in the summer of 35, as I recall, when the change began, and Edith first boarded the Milwaukee train. A 10-minute ride to the next stop on the line, and there she'd descend, and come a rain or shine, she'd walk 5 miles home again. 3 times a week, each week for a year, she rode the train alone, but why? None of us could ever understand. But I heard it said by others who were there, the conductor was a handsome man. He was a brown-eyed and very handsome man. So the years flew by and Edith's parents died, and she sold up and moved away to Iowa. The rumor went with a married man, but others said she died alone in bitterness and poverty on a barren farm with intractable land. But in my mind a figure still sits on a platform in gathering dusk, in the clothes they made before the First World War, waiting around for the train to arrive in a fury of steam and whistle blows, the conductor holding open the carriage door, the conductor holding open the carriage door.
More than anything else, Stage 33 Live exists at all thanks to your free will donations and the excellent volunteers that make it happen. We are so grateful. It wouldn't be possible to do this alone. This season's podcast sponsor is Friends of Studio Cat Corduroy. Originally from Austin, Texas, Corduroy moved to Vermont in 2019 to reside at the painting studio next door to our performance space, moving on to her next great adventure on the last day of June 2025 at the ripe old age of 20. A gruff exterior with a heart of gold type, when we came in to set up for shows, we always looked forward to her yelling at us through the door until we let her out. Corduroy was well known on social media, where her friends now join with Hunter Studio and Rockingham Entertainment Development in supporting the mission of Stage 33 Live. To learn more about Corduroy, visit her at hunter-studio.com/corduroy.
Had a hole in his head, and everyone knew that he ought to be dead. Was it fate or blind luck, though it never came clear? He kept keeping on year after year. Now Phineas Gage was a prince of a man, a hard-working foreman, the best in the land, resourceful, respectful, responsible too, the pride of the railroad and crew. September 13 was a fine autumn day. The crew was in Cavendish, working away, drilling and blasting and laying the track across the Green Mountains and back. But something incredible happened that day when Gage was distracted and turning away, and his tampon rod slipped down the hole he had drilled. It's a miracle he wasn't killed, for it struck on the granite, threw off a spark, and the gunpowder down in that hole went off with a roar, and that big iron rod was blasted right up through his skull. And Phineas Gage had a hole in his head, and everyone knew that he ought to be dead. Was it fate or blind luck, though it never came clear? He kept keeping on year after year. Old Phineas lay in a heap on the ground. They knew he was gone as they gathered around, but he sat up and started to talking instead, with a big bleeding hole in his head. And he rode in an ox cart with nary a groan. Arriving in town, he got out on his own, climbed up on the porch, took a chair and sat down as the townspeople gathered around. And the doc come a-running and took off his specs. Said, Mr. Gage, better cash in your checks. This time he quit talking and learned how to pray. You'll be meeting your maker today. did all they could do. Not one of them reckoned they'd ever pull through. But a couple months later, well, glory to God, old Phineas was back on the job. But something had changed and he didn't last long. He was loud and profane, just could not get along. And his friends turned away, saying one thing's for sure:
old Gage isn't Gage anymore.
So he worked a few odd jobs on farms and in town, caught on with a sideshow and traveled around. But that big iron rod was his only true friend, going with him wherever he went. A medical miracle, old Phineas Gage ended up down in Chile, driving a stage. Lived 11 more years, missing part of his brain, till the day of his reckoning came. There's a strange looking skull and a big iron rod. Down to Harvard, they're still on display. And the students and brain people all the world round study the case till this day. 'Cause Phineas Gage had a hole in his head, and everyone knew that he ought to be dead. Was it fate or blind luck? Though it never came clear, he kept keeping on year after year. Thanks so much.
The Sky Blue Boys, Phineas Gage had a hole in his head. You're asking yourself if we could possibly have 2 songs about Phineas Gage. The answer is yes.
My dear Phineas, I hope this letter finds you well. I had heard the worst. It goes to show you can never tell. My dear Phineas, when you left to work the line, you gave me your word you'd be back in 6 weeks' time. Now you're in a bed in Cavendish, and I thank God that you're alive. But you gave your poor mother such a fright. If you only knew what you put me through, say another inch or two to the right and you'd be dead. Only God knows how, but I need this now, like I need another hole in my head, another hole in my head. My dear Phineas, Dr. Harlow sends his word of your miracle, fit and strong despite the hurt. My dear Phineas, even he cannot explain, but he's warning me, son, I knew is not the same. You've been gnashing teeth and angry with words as sharp as steel. I'm begging you to come back home to heal. If you only knew what you put me through, say another inch or two to the right and you'd be dead. Only God knows how, but I need this now, like I need another hole in my head, another hole in my head. Hole in my head. Now I read it in the Post today, the rather curious case of Phineas Gage. And as you roll your sideshow town to town, do you think this makes your mother proud? If you only knew what you put me through, you say that every mother lives her children's pain instead. Only God knows how, but I need this now, like I need another hole in my head, another hole in my head, oh, another hole in my head.
Phil Henry with a song from Phineas's mom. Here's Carl Beverly with a true story, Matthew Gould.
It was opening day, September 1849. The tracks had been laid to Warner on the Claremont and Concord line. Moses called out all aboard to 1,000 clapping hands. They were singing, "Oh, Susanna," to the Fisherville brass band. The hay coaches filled with officials and town folk to ride that road. The conductor ensured a place was reserved for younger brother Matthew Gould. With sparks and smoke and a hiss of steam, the wheels began to pull, clacking their way o'er the tracks down through Kentuckyville. Yeah, down through Kentuckyville. Well, they cheered the train in Concord. Hundreds were waiting to board, to commemorate and celebrate, but the train could hold no more. Open stake cars were added and a second engine pulled, but it placed a strain at the front of the train, right where Matthew stood. It was just outside of Concord when that lead coupling snapped. Three young men thrown to the tracks. Matthew Gould was not coming back. Matthew Gould was not coming back. Well, they rode in reverent silence with the wheels beating those rails, and shed a tear as the town drew near at the whistle's mournful wail. Well, the cheers turned to cries and tears as word swept through that crowd. Sullen faces now filled the station, not one smile could be found. Well, the people formed a procession in keeping with their plans, singing, "Nearer, my God, to thee," behind the Fisherville brass band. Now the tracks are gone from Warner and memories of that train. We walk its trail and tell the tale of Matthew Gould, an opening day. Matthew Gould, an opening day. It was opening day, September 1849. Thank you.
We'll close out the show with Dana Cooper, The Ghost of Tucumcari, which is a song about a cat and not about trains, but Tucumcari was a railroad town, so there you go.
She leaves the back door open for the ghost that you can carry. It hurts to see him hungry, so desperate, so weary. The temperature is falling. Tonight there'll be a flurry. She keeps her heart wide open for the ghost that you can carry. The lost one from the shadows limps across the alley. His haunted face is bloody from his never-ending battle. He sleeps where no one sees him, beneath the old abandoned building where no cruel hand can reach him. The ghost of Tucumcari. And he tears the silent snow on his sandpaper tongue, remembers warmer days, the blinding desert sun. He's scared to death of man, but he's too damn sick to run. So it's stay out here and die of cold. Step inside that open door. Once the lights burn bright in the town of Tucumcari, now people just blow by. The old mother road is lonely. She sees him through the curtain, prays that he will tarry, sleeping in the corner. The ghost of Tucumcari, so peaceful in the corner. The ghost of Tucumcari. 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 The ghost of Tucumcari.
This program was produced by Stage 33 Live in Bellows Falls, Vermont. Stage 33 Live exists thanks to volunteers and donations. Extra special thanks to these exceptional supporters over the years. The Island Corporation, a creative mix of art and enterprise. Wool FM, community radio for the southern Vermont and New Hampshire borderlands. Guilford Sound, a state-of-the-art residential recording studio in Guilford, Vermont. The Vermont Arts Council, working for a creative state. And the Rockingham Arts and Museum Project, revitalizing the community with the arts. Stage 33 Live is a 501c3 non-profit. All donations are deductible to the extent allowed. For more information about everything, see our Uncomfortably Dense website at stage33live.com. See you next time. Until then, go see a show by an act you've never heard of and support local everything. Got some time for a bonus track? Here's the remarkable Steve Hartman with his song, My Family.
A little cigarette and fumble for my pen and dirt.
my tears, you wait for me to finish my next masterpiece. Well, this is just my way of saying so humbly, so desperately, I love you. For the home that you open, the kind words you've spoken, and the miles you've broken. Never let me give up, even when I've had too much. You still come see me play. So desperately, I love you. You're my family. Because you believe even when I can see there's no good reason. You step up to remind me of why you gave me wings, to never stop chasing and always keep reaching, but don't forget to breathe. So desperately, I love you. For the home that you open, the kind words you've spoken, and the miles you've broken. Never let me give up, even when I've had too much. You still come see me play. So desperately, I love you. You're my family. For the home that you open, the kind words you've spoken, and the miles you've broken. Never let me give up, even when I've had too much. You still come see me play. So desperately, I love you. You're my family.
Chin Chin.